The summer breeze carried the scent of honeysuckle through the small town of Pine Valley as 12-year-old Finn Harrison chased fireflies in his backyard. The setting sun painted the sky in brilliant shades of orange and purple, but Finn's attention was drawn to the peculiar girl who had just moved in next door. Nina appeared in his life like a shooting star, sudden, bright, and mesmerizing. She had flowing silver blonde hair that seemed to shimmer even in darkness, and eyes so deep blue they reminded him of the ocean documentaries he loved to watch. There was something different about her, something he couldn't quite place, but it only made her more fascinating. "You're holding the jar wrong," Nina said softly, approaching him with a grace that made it seem like she was floating. "They need more air holes if you want to keep them happy." Finn looked down at his mason jar, cheeks flushing. "Oh, I wasn't really going to keep them. I just like watching them dance." A smile spread across Nina's face, transforming her already beautiful features into something almost ethereal. "Then let's dance with them instead," she suggested, taking his hand. Her touch was cool and sent a slight tingle through his fingers, but he didn't pull away. That evening marked the beginning of a friendship that would define Finn's childhood. Every day after school, they would meet in the space between their houses, sharing secrets and dreams. Nina had an endless fascination with Earth's simplest things, raindrops, butterflies, the way leaves changed colors in autumn. She would ask questions that sometimes struck Finn as odd, like why humans needed to sleep every single night, or why they couldn't see in the dark. "Where I'm from," she would say, then quickly correct herself, in my old town, things were very different." Finn never pressed her about these slips. He was too enchanted by her stories of distant places and the way she described the stars as if she'd danced among them. Their favorite spot became the old observatory hill just outside town. They would spend hours there, Nina pointing out constellations Finn had never heard of, teaching him names for stars that weren't in any of his astronomy books. She spoke about space with such intimacy that Finn often joked she must be an alien. "What if I was?" she'd ask, her voice carrying a hint of worry that Finn mistook for playfulness. "Then you'd be the prettiest alien ever," he'd reply, making her laugh, that musical laugh that seemed to make the stars shine brighter. One night, during a meteor shower, they lay side by side on their favorite hill. The sky was alive with streaming lights, reflecting in Nina's eyes like dancing flames. She gripped his hand tighter than usual. "Finn," she whispered, "do you believe in forever?" "I don't know," he answered honestly. "Maybe." "Why?" "Because I want you to promise me something." She turned to face him, her expression serious. "Promise that one day, when we're grown up, you'll marry me." The request should have seemed silly to a 12-year-old boy, but something in Nina's voice made Finn understand this wasn't just a game. "I promise," he said solemnly, squeezing her hand back. "No matter what I am or where I'm from," she pressed. "No matter what," he assured her, not fully understanding the weight of his words. 2 weeks later, Nina vanished. Her house stood empty, no forwarding address left behind, no goodbye note. Finn's parents tried to console him, saying sometimes families had to move suddenly, but something felt wrong about the whole situation. The only trace she left behind was a small crystal that seemed to glow from within, which he found on his windowsill the morning after she disappeared. As years passed, Finn would often take out that crystal, watching it catch the light in impossible ways. He would remember the girl who taught him to see magic in the ordinary world, who made him promise forever under a shower of falling stars. Sometimes, late at night, he could almost convince himself it had all been a dream, the girl with star-filled eyes and secrets in her smile. But the crystal would pulse warmly in his hand, as if responding to his thoughts, and he would know it had all been real. Somewhere out there, Nina existed. And maybe, just maybe, she remembered their promise too. What Finn couldn't know then was that their story was far from over. The universe had plans for them both, plans that would unfold in ways neither could have imagined during those innocent summer nights beneath the stars. 10 years had passed since that summer of fireflies and promises. At 32, Dr. Finn Harrison had built a life far removed from his small-town beginnings. As the lead xenobiologist aboard Space Station Meridian, his days were filled studying exotic plant specimens from newly discovered worlds. The observatory hill of his childhood had been replaced by the station's vast viewing deck, where countless stars stretched into infinity. The crystal Nina had left behind sat on his desk, serving as both paperweight and reminder. Sometimes, during late-night research sessions, he caught it glowing with that familiar inner light, though he'd convinced himself it was just a trick of the fluorescent panels above. Dr. Harrison, the specimens from Kepler 186f are showing unusual growth patterns, his research assistant Riley announced, interrupting his reminiscence. She pushed her glasses up her nose, tablet in hand. The cellular structure seems to be responding to something we can't detect. Finn leaned over the cultivation chamber, watching the iridescent flora pulse with an otherworldly rhythm. Increase the atmospheric pressure by 2%, he instructed, making notes on his own device. And Riley, how many times do I have to tell you to call me Finn? She smiled, adjusting the controls. At least once more, Dr. Harrison. The station's intercom crackled to life, attention all personnel. Incoming diplomatic vessel from the Centauri Alliance requesting emergency docking. All non-essential staff please clear docking bay 3. Finn frowned. The Centauri Alliance was new to interstellar politics, having revealed themselves to Earth just months ago. Their representatives were rare visitors, and emergency docking even rarer. Go ahead and start the atmospheric adjustments, he told Riley. I should check this out, might be relevant to our research. The corridors of Meridian buzzed with speculation as Finn made his way to the observation deck overlooking docking bay 3. The diplomatic vessel was unlike anything he'd seen before, sleek and silver, with surfaces that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. Through the reinforced windows, Finn watched as the ship's airlock engaged with the station's docking mechanism. Steam hissed as pressure equalized, and the doors began to cycle open. A small delegation emerged, 3 figures in flowing robes that shifted colors like aurora borealis. The first 2 were clearly guards, their movements precise and alert. But the third figure. Finn's heart stopped. She moved with that same impossible grace he remembered from summer evenings chasing fireflies. When she lowered her hood, revealing silver blonde hair and deep blue eyes, the crystal in his pocket grew warm. Nina, he whispered, though she was too far away to hear. As if sensing his presence, she looked up toward the observation deck. Their eyes met across the distance, and suddenly he was 12 years old again, making promises under falling stars. The crystal pulsed against his leg, its glow now unmistakable. Dr. Harrison. Riley's voice crackled through his communicator. The specimens are reacting strongly to something. The readings are off the charts. But Finn couldn't look away. The woman below, Nina, yet not Nina, smiled that same smile that had haunted his dreams for a decade. She raised her hand in a subtle gesture, and the crystal in his pocket hummed in response. I'll be right there, he managed to reply to Riley, though he made no move to leave. The delegation was being led toward the diplomatic quarter, but just before they turned the corner, Nina glanced back. This time, Finn was certain, she had recognized him too. More than that, she had known exactly where to find him. His communicator chimed again, this time with a text message from an unknown source, the observatory deck. Midnight station time. Some promises are meant to be kept. Finn's hands trembled as he read the message. The crystal's warmth spread through his body, and memories he tried to rationalize away came flooding back, Nina's odd questions about human behavior, her intimate knowledge of the stars, the way she seemed to glow in the darkness. The rest of his shift passed in a blur. The specimens from Kepler 186f continued their unusual behavior, but Finn's mind was elsewhere. He found himself watching the station's chronometer, counting the hours until midnight. As he prepared to leave the lab that evening, Riley caught his arm. Dr. Harrison, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from the specimens. They're responding to something that arrived with that diplomatic vessel. Should we alert station security? Finn looked at the readings, then at the crystal on his desk. The patterns were identical. "No," he said quietly, pocketing the crystal. I think I might finally get some answers tonight." He made his way to his quarters, heart pounding with questions. The mystery of Nina's disappearance, the truth about who, and what, she really was, all of it seemed to be rushing toward a revelation he both longed for and feared. As he changed out of his lab coat, Finn caught his reflection in the mirror. He was no longer the wide-eyed boy from Pine Valley, but the promise he'd made under that meteor shower still burned in his heart. Tonight, he would discover if Nina, or whatever her real name was, felt the same. The crystal pulsed steadily now, like a second heartbeat, guiding him toward a reunion 10 years in the making. Finn checked his watch, 4 hours until midnight. 4 hours until he would face the girl from the stars who had taught him to believe in magic, and learn whether some childhood promises were strong enough to span not just years, but galaxies. The observatory deck of Station Meridian was designed to inspire awe. Curved walls of transparent aluminum stretched from floor to ceiling, offering an unobstructed view of the cosmos. At midnight, with most of the station's lights dimmed, it felt like floating in space itself. Finn stood before the massive window, the crystal pulsing steadily in his palm. Each beat seemed to align with the distant twinkle of stars, creating a rhythm he'd felt only once before, on that hill in Pine Valley, the night of the meteor shower. "You kept it all these years." The voice behind him was familiar yet different, carrying harmonics that his 12-year-old ears had never detected. Finn turned slowly, and there she was. No diplomatic robes now, just a simple silver dress that seemed to catch and reflect starlight. "Nina," he breathed. "Naira," she corrected gently. Nina was a necessary disguise. "But this is who I really am." She stepped closer, and Finn noticed subtle differences he'd missed in the docking bay. Her skin had a faint, pearlescent quality, and her silver blonde hair moved as if suspended in water despite the station's artificial gravity. "You're really here," Finn said, resisting the urge to reach out and touch her, to prove she wasn't another dream. "After 10 years, you're actually here. I'm sorry it took so long." Naira's eyes, still that impossible ocean blue, filled with emotion. "There was so much I wanted to tell you that summer, but I couldn't. The timing wasn't right, and the risks." She trailed off, glancing at the crystal in his hand. "This isn't just a crystal, is it?" Finn asked, holding it up between them. In her presence, it glowed brighter than ever, casting soft patterns across their faces. "It's called a heart shard," Naira explained. "Among my people, the Celestians, it's, well, imagine giving someone a piece of your soul. That's the closest human concept." She touched her chest, where a similar light pulsed beneath her skin. "I left it with you so I could find my way back." Finn's scientific mind raced with questions, but his heart held on to one detail. "Your people. The Centauri Alliance. Is a convenient diplomatic fiction," Naira smiled sadly. "The truth is more complicated. The Celestians have been watching Earth for centuries, studying how humans might react to learning they're not alone. Some of us lived among you, gathering data, making assessments. My parents were researchers, and Pine Valley was their assigned territory." She moved to the window, gazing out at the stars. "But something unexpected happened. I met you. And for the first time in our history, a Celestian child formed a heart bond with a human. The promise," Finn remembered. "Under the meteor shower. You thought it was just a childhood game," Naira turned back to him, "but for my people, such promises are binding. The heart shard responded to your sincerity, your pure acceptance of me, even though you didn't know what I really was. That's why I had to leave so suddenly. The bond was unprecedented, and my parents." She swallowed hard. "They were recalled immediately. Some on our council saw it as contamination of the research." Finn's mind spun with revelations. "But you came back. Why now?" "Because everything's changing," Naira said urgently. The Celestian Council is divided. Some want to reveal our true nature to humanity, to move beyond the Centauri Alliance facade. Others fear it will destroy both our peoples. The heart bond we share. She stepped closer, taking his free hand. That same electric tingle he remembered shot through his fingers. It proves coexistence is possible. Real connection between our species can work. And the specimens in my lab? Finn asked, pieces falling into place. They're reacting to you, aren't they? To us, Naira corrected. To the bond we share. Those plants are from a world where Celestians first evolved. They respond to emotional resonance. When I came aboard. She smiled. They sensed the connection between us, even after all these years. Finn looked down at their joined hands, then at the heart shard pulsing in rhythm with the light beneath Naira's skin. So what happens now? That depends, she said softly, on whether you still mean what you promised that night. I'm not the little girl you knew, Finn. I'm not even human. Loving me, it would mean becoming part of something bigger than either of us. The Council is watching. Our reunion could either bridge two worlds or tear them apart. She released his hand and stepped back slightly. I understand if it's too much. You were just a boy when you made that promise. You couldn't have known. I knew enough, Finn interrupted, closing the distance between them. I knew you were different. I knew you were special. And I knew, even then, that I'd never meet anyone else like you. He held up the heart shard. I kept this, not as a paperweight or a souvenir, but because every time I looked at it, I felt complete. Like a part of me was out there among the stars, waiting to come home. Naira's eyes widened, the blue depths swirling with emotion. The heart shard flared between them, its light encompassing them both. Outside the window, the distant stars seemed to pulse in response. The Council has given us one cycle of your moon, Naira whispered. To prove that this bond, that we, can work. After that, Finn said firmly, we'll face whatever comes together. He reached out, brushing a strand of starlit hair from her face. Some promises are meant to be kept, remember? The heart shard's glow enveloped them fully now, and as Finn leaned down to kiss her, he swore he could feel the harmonics of distant galaxies singing in his blood. The universe, it seemed, had been conspiring for this moment since that first summer night when a human boy and a star child danced with fireflies in the gathering dusk. The following weeks aboard Station Meridian became a delicate dance of secrets and revelations. By day, Finn continued his research, now understanding why the specimens responded so dramatically to Naira's presence. By night, they rediscovered each other in the quiet corners of the station, sharing stories of the years they'd lost. Your specimens aren't just reacting to our bond, Naira explained one evening in his lab, her fingers trailing over the cultivation chamber. They're recording it. Every emotional resonance, every moment we share, they're documenting the first successful human-Celestian heart bond. Riley had grown suspicious of their late-night meetings, especially when the specimens began producing previously unknown bioluminescent patterns. Dr. Harrison, she confronted him one morning, the energy signatures I'm detecting, they match the readings from the diplomatic vessel. And from that crystal you always carry. Finn trusted his assistant, but Naira's warning echoed in his mind, the Council was watching. Every person who learned the truth added another variable to an already precarious equation. Riley, he said carefully, what would you say if I told you we're on the brink of the biggest xenobiological discovery in human history? Before she could respond, the lab doors slid open. Two Celestian guards entered, their robes shifting colors rapidly, a sign of agitation, Naira had taught him. Behind them came an elder Celestian, his silver hair cascading past his shoulders. First observer Theron, Naira stepped forward, her voice tight. I didn't expect you until next week. The Council has concerns, Theron's voice resonated with subtle harmonics. Your experiment with Dr. Harrison has created ripples. The specimens are transmitting emotional frequencies across light years. Other research stations are detecting them. Riley gasped softly, finally understanding. Finn moved protectively toward Naira, the heart shard burning in his pocket. "It's not an experiment," he stated firmly. "What Naira and I share is real. Your own specimens prove it." "Perhaps too real," Theron's eyes narrowed. "The Council fears humanity isn't ready for full disclosure. If knowledge of our true nature spreads." He gestured at Riley. "It's already begun." "I've known Dr. Harrison for 3 years," Riley spoke up unexpectedly. "I've seen him study the most bizarre xenobiological specimens without prejudice or fear. If humans and Celestians are going to build trust, you couldn't ask for a better bridge." Naira's hand found Finn's, their fingers intertwining as the heart shard's glow intensified. The specimens in their chambers began to pulse in harmony, creating a light show that reflected off the lab's metallic surfaces. "Look," Finn pointed to the readings. "The resonance patterns aren't just recording our bond, they're amplifying it. What if that's the point? What if this is how our species are meant to connect?" Theron studied the displays, his expression unreadable. "The Council will require proof. Documentation. Controlled studies." "With all due respect," Naira interrupted, "they'll have to wait. This isn't a research project to be quantified. This is love, first observer. Real, messy, human Celestian love. And if the Council truly wants to understand humanity, they need to accept that some things can't be measured in laboratories." The specimens flared brilliantly, as if emphasizing her words. Theron's robes shifted through shades of deep blue, contemplation, Finn had learned. "You have 3 days," the first observer finally declared. "Prepare your case for the Council. After that." He glanced between them. "Well, perhaps some experiments yield unexpected discoveries." After Theron and his guards departed, Riley turned to them with wide eyes. "So, all those times the specimens were acting strange." "We were probably having a moment," Finn admitted, making Naira laugh. "I should recalibrate the sensors," Riley grinned. "Something tells me we're going to be documenting a lot more moments for your Council presentation." As they worked late into the night, preparing data and organizing evidence, Finn caught Naira watching him with an expression that mixed love with worry. "What is it?" he asked softly. "The Council might separate us," she whispered. "Even with proof, they might decide it's too risky." Finn pulled her close, the heart shard pulsing between them. "Then we'll find each other again. We did it once, across light years and decades. We can do it again." Around them, the specimens glowed like earthbound stars, recording another perfect moment in the ongoing experiment of love transcending species. In 3 days, they would face the Council. But for now, in the quiet laboratory floating among the stars, 2 hearts beat as one, human and Celestian, bound by a promise made in childhood and strengthened by the wisdom of years. The Council chamber aboard the Celestian vessel defied human architecture. Walls curved like liquid mercury, and light seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere. Finn stood beside Naira, heart shard glowing steadily in his palm, as 13 Celestian observers materialized in a semicircle before them. "The evidence you've presented is compelling," High Observer Lyssandra's voice chimed like crystal bells. "But pair bonding between species raises countless complications. Dr. Harrison would need to understand our ways, our technologies." "I believe he already does, in his own way," Naira interjected. The specimens they'd brought from Meridian pulsed in their containers, reflecting her conviction. His research independently discovered principles our scientists took centuries to understand. The resonance patterns, the emotional frequencies. "And what of children?" another observer challenged. "The continuation of both bloodlines? There are many ways to create family," Finn spoke up, surprising the Council. "On Earth, love isn't measured by genetic compatibility. It's measured by choice, by choosing each other every day, despite differences." The heart shard flared as he spoke, its light connecting with similar crystals worn by the Council members. The specimens responded, creating a symphony of bioluminescence that filled the chamber. Remarkable, Theron murmured. The resonance patterns, they're harmonizing. Stabilizing. Because this isn't just about us anymore, Naira realized, watching the light display. Every moment Finn and I share creates a template, a proof that humans and Celestians can not only coexist but thrive together. Lysandra rose, her form seemingly composed of starlight. The council must deliberate. But first, Dr. Harrison, do you fully understand what accepting this bond would mean? You would live between worlds, neither fully human nor Celestian. Your life would be unprecedented. Finn looked at Naira, seeing both the alien being of light and energy and the girl who had danced with fireflies in his backyard. With respect, High Observer, my life has been unprecedented since the day I met her. I made a promise under falling stars, and I've spent 20 years becoming the kind of man worthy of keeping it. The specimens erupted in patterns never before recorded, their light interweaving with the heart shard's glow. The council chamber filled with harmonic frequencies that made the mercury-like walls ripple. After what felt like hours, Lysandra spoke again. The council has reached a decision. This bond, this love, will be officially recognized. Moreover, we believe it marks the beginning of a new era in human-Celestian relations. What exactly does that mean? Finn asked, squeezing Naira's hand. It means, Dr. Harrison, that your research station will become the first joint human-Celestian scientific outpost. Your work with Naira will help establish protocols for future interactions between our species. And Lysandra's form shimmered with what might have been amusement, it means you may keep your childhood promise. Tears of joy fell from Naira's eyes, each droplet catching light like tiny stars. Thank you, High Observer. Later, back in Finn's lab on Meridian, Riley helped them celebrate by reprogramming the atmospheric controls to create an indoor meteor shower, safe, controlled, but beautiful. Just like the night we first made our promise, Naira whispered, watching the light streak overhead. Almost, Finn smiled, dropping to one knee. He held up both the heart shard and a small ring of terrestrial silver. But this time, I'm making it properly. Naira of the Celestians, who once played at being Nina in my backyard, will you marry me? The specimens around them exploded with light as Naira pulled him up into a kiss. I've been waiting 20 years to say yes. Riley pretended to be busy with her tablets, but she couldn't hide her grin. I'm documenting this for science, you know. First official human-Celestian proposal. Document away, Finn laughed, holding Naira close. Let the universe know that love doesn't care about species or star systems. It just needs two hearts willing to beat as one. The heart shard pulsed between them, its light now permanently synchronized with both their heartbeats. Outside the station windows, the vast expanse of space stretched endlessly, full of possibilities. Somewhere out there, other humans and Celestians might find each other, might fall in love, might bridge the gap between worlds. But for now, in a laboratory filled with impossible plants and simulated meteor showers, a human man and a woman from the stars swayed together, dancing to the music of two species learning to harmonize. Their childhood promise had grown into something greater than either could have imagined, not just a love story, but a revolution written in stardust and shared dreams. So, Naira murmured against his chest, what happens next? Finn kissed her forehead, feeling the familiar tingle of Celestian energy meeting human warmth. What always happens when you follow your heart into the unknown, he replied. We write our own story among the stars. Around them, the specimens continued their luminous dance, recording this moment for future generations who might wonder if love truly could transcend the boundaries of space, time, and species. The answer would shine in their data forever, with enough courage, enough trust, and maybe a little childhood magic, love could bridge any distance, even the vast expanse between Earth and the farthest stars.